I plunged the knife into his thigh the moment he laughed at my scars. The ones he'd carved into me 5 years ago during that accident he staged to cover his embezzlement. Blood sprayed across the marble floor of our penthouse, hot and metallic, as his eyes widened, not in pain, but in the dawning horror of realizing I'd been waiting for this exact second. "You think you're the victim?" I whispered, twisting the blade just enough to make him scream. Because fuck him. And fuck the world that called me ugly for surviving his lies. The fluorescent lights of the conference room buzzed like angry hornets, casting harsh shadows on the faces of the board members, mostly old white guys in ill-fitting suits, nursing their third coffee of the morning. I stood at the head of the table, my heels clicking against the polished oak like gunfire in a library. Technova's quarterly earnings call was about to go live, and I was the one holding the reins. PR Director Sarah Klein. They called me. The woman who could spin a server crash into a strategic pivot. But today, I wasn't spinning shit. Today, I was unraveling it all. It started 6 months ago, at the annual gala for the Silicon Valley elite. Picture it, crystal chandeliers dripping from the ceiling like frozen tears. Waiters gliding through the crowd with trays of champagne that cost more than my first car. I was there in a sleek black gown that hugged my curves just right, the kind of dress that makes you feel invincible until some asshole opens his mouth. My husband, ex-husband now, but back then he was still playing the part, Ethan Hargrove, Technova's golden boy CFO, had his arms slung around me like I was a trophy he'd won at auction. He was charming the room, as always, with that boyish grin and those Ivy League anecdotes that made investors cream their khakis. Then the MC calls us up for a quick spotlight. Ethan and Sarah Hargrove, the power couple behind Technova's rocket ride. The crowd applauds, polite and perfunctory. We're smiling, waving, the picture of marital bliss. But as we step off the stage, some tech bro from a rival firm, drunk on free booze and his own ego, leans in and mutters loud enough for the mic to catch it. "Damn. Ethan, how'd you land that? She's got more baggage than a United flight." Laughter ripples. Not kind laughter. The kind that slices. Ethan doesn't miss a beat. He chuckles, pulls me closer, and says into the still hot mic, "Hey, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Right? But yeah, she's a keeper, scars and all." Scars. Plural. The ones snaking up my left arm and across my collarbone from the car accident 5 years back. The one he caused. The one where he swerved us into a guardrail to fake his own death for a day, buying time to siphon off $2 million from the company's slush fund. I took the blame for the crash, distracted driving. They said, because I loved him. Because I thought we were in it together. Because the alternative was admitting I'd married a monster. The room erupts in that awkward, complicit chuckle. Cameras flash. My face burns hotter than a California wildfire. I force a smile, but inside, something snaps. Not loudly, not dramatically. Just a quiet crick, like a bone finally giving way after years of pressure. Ethan kisses my cheek, wet, performative, and whispers, "Lighten up, babe. It's just banter." Banter. Right. Like calling your wife a Frankenstein reject in front of 500 influencers is water cooler talk. That night, in the hotel suite overlooking the bay, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I poured us both scotch, his favorite, the peaty Islay that makes his tongue loose, and watched him undress, oblivious, humming some shitty indie tune. "You were amazing tonight," he lied, sliding into bed. I nodded, sipped my drink, and let the silence stretch until he was snoring. Then I pulled out my laptop. Not for emails or damage control. For the first time in our marriage, I started digging. Really digging. Ethan had always been the numbers guy, the one who charmed the spreadsheets. I handled the narrative, the press releases that turned quarterly dips into innovative disruptions. But narratives have layers, don't they? Peel one back, and you find the rot underneath. I started with his emails, nothing fancy, just a forgotten password synced to our shared cloud drive. Harmless stuff at first, flirty texts to his assistant, the one with the yoga-toned abs and daddy issues. Then invoices. Offshore accounts. A shell company in the Caymans named after our wedding dog. For fuck's sake, Rusty Co-Investments. By dawn, I'd mapped it. 3 million skimmed over 2 years. Funneled through fake vendors for AI development. Enough to bury him. Enough to bury us both if it went public. But here's the thing about revenge. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon with landmines. I closed the laptop, crawled into bed beside him, and traced the scar on my arm with my fingertip. The one he'd laughed at. The one I'd hidden under long sleeves and high necks for years, telling myself it was battle armor. Bullshit. It was a brand. The next morning, I filed for divorce. Quietly. No drama. No tabloid splash. Just papers serve at his office with a note. Let's keep it civil for the narrative. He called me hysterical. Gaslit me over speakerphone while his lawyer circled. But I was already 2 steps ahead. I'd met with Technova's CEO,
Victoria Lang,
the week before. Sharp as a stiletto. Victoria, 50-something. Silver hair and a bob that could cut glass. Ethan's numbers are off, I'd said. Vague enough to hook her. She nodded, eyes narrowing. Fix it,
Sarah.
or we're all swimming with the fishes.
Now.
6 months later, in that conference room, Victoria's gaze bores into me as I finalize the press release. Make it sing, she says. I do. But this time, there's no mention of Ethan.
No svoj sen Hargrod spearheaded.
No cosign. Just me, the board, and a vague leadership team. It's subtle. Invisible to the untrained eye. But to him, it'll be a gut punch. The call goes live. Analysts drone on about projections. I field questions with the ease of someone who's lied for a living. Growth in Q4? Absolutely. Thanks to streamlined operations.
Streamlined.
Like erasing a name from history. When it's over, my phone buzzes. Ethan's text. What the fuck? Sarah? My name's gone from the deck. I smile. Type back. Oops. Must have been a glitch. Then I block him. For the first time in years, I feel the scars itch, not with shame, but with possibility. That night, alone in my new apartment in Soma, Spartan, all concrete and exposed brick, I pour another scotch. Not his brand. Something smoother.
Smokier.
I open my laptop again. The file's there. Project Phantom. My insurance policy. Screenshots.
Wire transfers.
Even an audio clip from that night in the hotel, where in his sleep talk, he muttered, 2 mil. Clean slate. It's not enough for court, not yet. But it's enough to start the unraveling. The next day, the stock ticks up 3%. Pundits praise the transparent leadership. Ethan calls from a block number. Voice slurred. You bitch. You think this is over. I hang up, heart pounding not from fear, but from the rush. This is just the opening act. The mockery wasn't the betrayal.
It was the spark.
The real knife? That came earlier. In the crash. When he whispered as we spun out, "Take the wheel, Sarah." For us. And I did. God help me.
I did. But now?
Now I'm driving. Ethan always said I was too emotional for PR. Stick to the facts. Babe, he'd smirk. Like facts were these pure, untainted things you could polish and serve on a platter. Facts like how he met me at a Stanford mixer. Me a poli-sci major with dreams of journalism. Him a finance was already plotting his ascent. We bonded over bad wine and worse philosophy, Nietzsche. Of all things. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, he quoted, eyes gleaming. I laughed. Thought it was profound. Turns out, it was a warning label. The crash happened on Highway 101, just south of San Francisco. Rain-slicked roads. Wipers slapping like accusations. We'd been arguing, stupid shit. Money mostly. Tech Nova was bleeding cash back then.
Post-dot com ângulo ver.
And Ethan's side hustles were starting to smell off. Trust me, he said, accelerating into the curve. I've got it handled. Then the swerve. Deliberate. The guardrail hit like a freight train. Metal screaming. Glass shattering. I blacked out with his hand clamped over mine on the wheel, forcing it left. When I woke in the ER, tubes snaking my arms, he was there, bandaged and heroic, spinning the tale to the cops. She was upset, honked at some asshole driver. Next thing, I corroborated it. Every detail. Because the alternative? Admitting my husband tried to kill us both to dodge an audit. The scars came later. From the surgery grafts for the burns where the airbag deployed like a bomb. Second degree, they said.
Permanent.
Battle wounds, the nurses cooed. Ethan bought me a necklace to cover it up, a delicate chain with a sapphire pendant that dangled just right over the worst of it. I wore it like a noose. Divorce proceedings dragged like a bad acid trip. He fought dirty. Of course, hardest shark from LA who painted me as unstable. Prone to hysterics. Depositions where I sat under fluorescent hell. Reliving the crash for strangers in suits. Mrs. Hargrove. You claim your husband caused the accident intentionally? Any proof? Proof? I had his emails. Buried in subfolders labeled taxes. But Victoria advised caution. Don't blow it up yet. Wait for the board vote. So I swallowed it. Nodded through the tears they called performative. Meanwhile, at work, the erasure began in earnest. Press release for the new AI rollout, led by executive team. Merger announcement, strategic oversight by key stakeholders. Ethan's name vanished like smoke from a deleted tweet. He noticed. Oh, he noticed. Showed up at my office unannounced, reeking of bourbon and desperation. This is sabotage.
Sarah.
You think you can ice me out? I leaned back in my chair. The city sprawled glittering below like a promise. Ice?
Nah.
Just editing the narrative. He lunged across the desk, face purple. Security dragged him out, but not before he spat. You'll regret this. I made you. Made me. Like I was a startup he bootstrapped. I laughed then. A hollow sound that echoed in my empty office. Regret? The only regret was not seeing the signs sooner. Like the Cayman wires. Time-stamped to our anniversary. Or the business trip to Vegas where his assistant posted bikini pics from the same hotel pool. Victoria called me in after that. Her office was a fortress of glass and steel. Views that made you feel like God. "He's spiraling," she said, pouring me a finger of single malt. "Good. Means we're close." Close to what? The board was sniffing around the books. Auditors circling like vultures. I'd fed them anonymous tips, nothing traceable. Just enough to flag irregularities in fund allocation. Ethan's response? Panic mode. He started leaking to the press. Anonymous sources claiming internal witch hunt at Technova. One rag even ran a piece, CFO's ex-wife, from power duo to personal vendetta. The comments were a cesspool. "She looks rode hard and put away wet. No wonder he cheated." Feminazi revenge porn. Scars? Bet she's got daddy issues. I read them all, glass of wine in hand, until the words blurred. Then I closed the tab, opened my draft folder. Project Phantom had grown. Voice memos from his voicemails. "Pleading now, Sarah. Baby. Let's talk." Transcribed and timestamped. Bank records subpoenaed under my divorce lawyer's nose. Even a PI report on the assistant. Knocked up. 6 months along. Already shopping for private schools. It was around then that the dreams started. Vivid. Technicolor nightmares where the crash replayed in slow-mo. But this time I yanked the will back, sending us into the abyss together.
Ide Bakashuin.
Scars throbbing like fresh wounds. One night, I drove to the crash site, parked on the shoulder under a sliver moon. The guardrail was repaired, shiny new metal mocking the memory. I got out, pressed my palm to it, felt the cold bite. "For us," I whispered, Ethan's words echoing. But who was us? Not me. Never me. Back home, a package waited on my doorstep. No return address. Inside, the sapphire necklace, snapped chain coiled like a snake, and a note in his scrawl, "Wear this to the gala. Or everyone sees the real you."
The real me.
The scarred, vengeful bitch. I fingered the pendant, then dropped it in the trash. The next press release went out at dawn. Technova partners with Interpol on ethical AI. A jab at his offshore bullshit, veiled as corporate virtue signaling. Ethan's calls escalated. Blocked numbers. Voicemails laced with venom. "You think you're smart? I know about the files. Delete them, or I go nuclear." Nuclear.
Q.
Like he hadn't already detonated our life. I saved every one. Added to the archive. Victoria pulled me aside at the next board meeting. "He's offering to resign quietly. Take the fall for the discrepancies." My heart skipped. And she smiled. "Wolfish. We let him. But you draft the statement. Make it memorable." That night, I wrote it. Ethan Hargrove, former CFO, steps down amid personal matters.
No héroes. No villains.
Just a ghost excised. When it hit the wires, the stock surged 7%. Analysts called it decisive leadership. "Ethan?" He texted one last time. "You win."
For now.
I deleted it, poured scotch, and toasted the mirror. The woman staring back had scars. Yeah. But they weren't hiding anymore. They were weapons. Little did I know, the real war was just revving up. Because Ethan's not the type to fade quietly. He's the type to burn it all down. And take me with him. Power in Silicon Valley isn't about money, it's about who controls the story. Ethan taught me that. Back when we were still us, whispering in bed after late-night strategy sessions. Facts are Clay, Sarah,
Morgen reich.
and the world eats from your hand. I believed him then, molded my career around it.
Now,
I'm the sculptor, and he's the statue crumbling to dust. The board vote came fast, a week after the resignation draft. Conference room again. Same buzzing lights, but the air thicker, charged like before a storm.
Victoria Prisaidid.
Her voice a scalpel, all in favor of accepting Mr. Hargrove's resignation and initiating internal review. Hands shot up, unanimous. No discussion. No glances my way. Just the gavel's crack. Final as a guillotine. Ethan was there. Virtual link from some godforsaken hotel in Reno. Face pale. Stubble shadowing his jaw like regret. I appreciate the opportunity, he droned. Scripted bullshit. Personal reasons necessitate. I tuned him out. Fingers flying over my tablet. Live editing the press release. His name? Already redacted. When the call ended, he messaged the chat. Private word. Sarah? I ignored it. Victoria clapped my shoulder. Clean kill. Now bury the body. Burying came easy at first. I orchestrated the narrative like a maestro. Leaks to Bloomberg about leadership refresh. Puff pieces in Wired on Technova's resilient culture. Ethan's absence became a non-story. A footnote in earnings calls. But ghosts don't stay buried. They rattle chains. His first move was subtle, a tip to a podcast buddy. The CFO purge, sexism or sabotage? The episode dropped mid-commute. My AirPods feeding me his spin. Sarah's brilliant, but bitterness post-divorce. It's clouding judgment. Those scars? Metaphor for the company's wounds. Listeners ate it up. Scars and sabotage trended on X. Memes of me as the Wicked Witch, cackling over a cauldron of press clips. Comments. Ugly inside and out. He did her a favor dumping her. I scrolled in the bathroom stall at work. Lunch turning to acid in my gut. Emotional? Yeah. But not broken. I fired back anonymously, burner account. Insider Truth 87 dropping crumbs. CFOs. Personal reasons? Try felony wire fraud. The thread exploded. Speculation. Death threats. Doxing attempts. Victoria called an emergency huddle. Damage control. Now. I nodded. But inside, the thrill hummed. This was chess, not checkers. Ethan's flip, from victim to accuser.
Painting me as the harpy.
But his desperation showed. The podcaster's voice cracked reading my crumbs, like he knew they were laced with truth. That's when the PI report landed. Not mine, his. Slipped under my door, at 2 a.m., envelope thick as guilt. Photos. Me at the crash site. Hand on the rail. Me in Victoria's office. Mid-whisper. Me deleting files from our old shared drive. A note. I know what you did last summer. Meet me. Or this goes viral.
Summer?
Try 5 years of buried rage. I met him at a dive bar in the Mission. The kind with sticky floors and jukebox blues. He slid into the booth. Eyes bloodshot. A shadow of the golden boy. You started this war, he hissed, sliding over a USB. But I can end it. Delete Phantom. And these stay private. I plugged it in under the table, videos of the assistant, ultrasound pics. Her tearful confession. He said it was yours, Sarah. The crash money. For our future. Our future. The 2 mil he'd skimmed? Not for yachts or mistresses. For IVF. For the baby we never had. The one I miscarried 2 months after the wedding. Blaming stress. He'd lied about the funds being clean. Used them to start fresh. But the assistant? She'd been the surrogate fallback. Paid hush money from the pot. My stomach churned. Betrayal on betrayal. He'd grift our grief. You son of a bitch, I whispered, yanking the drive. This changes nothing, he laughed.
Bitter.
It changes everything. You're not the hero here. You're the fool who covered for me.
Covered. Yeah.
In the ER. When cops asked about the swerve, I'd mumbled accident, protecting him. Taking the wheel, literally and figuratively. I left with the drive, head spinning. Back home, I pored over it. Emails between him and the clinic, wire transfers time-stamped to my surgery dates. He'd planned it all, the crash as distraction, me as patsy.
But the twist?
The miscarriage wasn't stress. It was sabotage. A vitamin he'd slipped me, per clinic notes misoprostol.
Disguised.
To reset us. He called it in a drunken ramble on tape. Rage boiled. Pure and volcanic. I called Victoria at 4 a.m. It's bigger than fraud. It's murder. She paused. Then, bring it to the board. But Sarah. This splits us. Ethan's got friends in high places. High places. Like the senator he'd golfed with. Or the VC who owed him a favor. The next press release? A bombshell. Disguised as routine, Technova commits to full financial transparency. Cooperating with federal inquiries. No names. But the implication hung like smog. Stock dipped 2%, then rebounded on proactive buzz. Ethan retaliated, full court press. A lawsuit dropped, defamation, emotional distress. My scars? Exhibit A. Proof of ongoing trauma influencing professional conduct. The media frenzy hit like a tsunami. CNN panels debating tech wife's revenge, justice or jealousy? Protests outside Technova HQ, believe women clashing with innocent until proven. I hold up, fielding calls from reporters hungry for my side. Sarah, is it true he mocked you publicly? Did the scars drive you to this?
Publicly. Yeah.
That gala mic drop. Broadcast on YouTube. Racking views. I watched it again. His chuckle echoing.
But now.
With the USB's secrets, it wasn't just mockery. It was a taunt from a man who'd stolen my body. My baby. My life. Victoria's warning rang true. The board fractured. 2 members. Ethan's old poker buddies. Pushed back. This reeks of vendetta. The vote to oust him formally? Deadlocked. I needed a tiebreaker. Something irreversible. That's when I decided on the gala encore. The same event, 1 year later. I'd go alone. Scars bared in a gown that plunged low. And I'd speak. Not for applause. For the kill shot. But as I prepped, a new email pinged from the assistant. He lied to you too. Meet me. I have proof. Proof of what? Another layer? My hand trembled on the mouse. The game's flipping again. And I'm not sure whose side I'm on anymore. The assistant's name was Lila Voss, 28. Pilates sculpted. With Instagram feeds full of acai bowls and affirmations like Boss Babe Rising. She'd been Ethan's shadow for 3 years. The kind of efficient that borders on invisible until she isn't. Her email came from a throwaway Gmail. Subject: The truth you deserve. Attached: a PDF scan of a clinic receipt. My name on it, dated to the miscarriage week. He paid me to deliver the pills. Said it was mercy. For both of us.
Mercy.
The word lodged in my throat like glass. I met her at a coffee shop in No Valley. The kind with mismatched mugs and chalkboard menus preaching locally sourced. She slid into the seat opposite, belly rounded under a loose sweater. Eyes darting like a cornered animal. I didn't know about the crash, she started. Voice barely above the hiss of the espresso machine. Not at first. He said you were fragile. That the baby was a mistake. Fragile.
Mistake.
I gripped my latte, knuckles white. And the money? The surrogate plan? She flushed, glanced at her phone, probably tracking his location. He promised it'd be legit. IVF funds.
Clean.
But when the auditors came, he panicked. Used me as cover. The Vegas trip? Wiring the first installment. I flipped through the PDF on my phone. Dates aligning like stars in a horror constellation. The pills, misoprostol. High dose. Disguised as iron supplements for anemia. Ethan had handed them to me himself. Morning of a board meeting. With a kiss and for your strength. Babe. Strength. To kill our child. To erase the evidence of his doubt. Why now? I asked, voice steady as rebar. Lila's eyes welled. The baby's kicking.
A boy.
And Ethan's ghosting me. Says if I talk, he'll claim I stole the funds.
But you.
You get it. The scars he gave you. She reached across. Hesitant. Traced air near my sleeve. Show me? I hesitated, then rolled up the cuff. The jagged lines puckered under the cafe light, pink and angry. Her gasp was genuine.
God.
He said it was a wreck. Drunk driver. Lie on lie. The swerve. His hand on mine. Tell me everything, I said. And I'll protect you.
She did.
Hours spilled. How he'd groomed her post-crash. Widower vibes, masking the fraud. The embezzlement? Started as loans for her med school. Escalated to shells. The mockery at the gala? A signal to her, we're endgame. Scars be damned. I recorded it all. Discreetly. App whirring in my pocket. This end him, I promised. She nodded. Tears streaking. But what about us? The fallout. Fallout. The word haunted me on the drive home. Bay Bridge fog rolling in like amnesia. I uploaded the audio to Phantom, cross-referenced with the USB. Patterns emerged. Ethan's flips weren't random. They were survival. Post-crash. He'd pinned the wheel on me to dodge manslaughter questions. Miscarriage? To reset the family man facade for investors. Assistant? Backup plan when I filed papers. Victoria got the full download that night. Over Zoom from her Tahoe retreat.
Jesus.
Sarah. This is dynamite. Her face pixelated. But the glee shone through. Leak it strategically. Ruin the holdouts. The board deadlock. 2 fans. Cronies from his Stanford days. I targeted them. Anonymous dossiers to their wives. Clinic ties redacted, but damning. By morning, one resigned for health reasons. Tie broken. Ouster proved. The press release I drafted was poetry and poison. Technova severs ties with former executive amid ethical lapses. Full cooperation with authorities. No names yet. Tease the hounds. Stock held steady. Analysts whispering bombshell incoming. Ethan? Radio silence. Then a flood. Texts. Voicemails. Even a drone buzzing my window with a banner. Stop or else.
Q.
Like threats scare a woman who's stare down death. But Lila's confession cracked something in me. Mercy? For what, my fragility? I drove to the old house that night. The one we'd shared in Palo Alto. Now staged for sale like a crime scene scrubbed clean. Realtor let me in. Awkward. I wandered rooms. Ghosts everywhere. Nursery paint swatches in the closet. Never used. His study. Desk bare but for a forgotten photo. Us at the altar. Me glowing. Him smirking. A floorboard creaked. Not the realtor. Ethan. Stepping from the shadows. Pistol in hand, small. Black.
Trembling.
You met the whore. His voice cracked. Eyes wild.
She lied.
All of it. I froze. Heart slamming. Put it down.
Ethan.
This isn't you. He laughed. Manic. Isn't me? I built this. You are the prop.
Prop.
The word ignited. I lunged not for the gun, but his phone on the desk. Thumbing record. Say it. I taunted. Say you killed our baby. His face twisted. Gun wavering. Mercy.
Sarah.
You were broken after the crash. We needed a clean start.
Clean.
Like the swerve. Like the scars. Sirens wailed distant. Neighbor tip-off? He bolted. Gun clattering. I scooped it. Called 911. Intruder at 142 Oakwood. Armed. Cops swarmed. But he was smoke. Left behind. A burner phone. Text to the senator. Bury the audit. Or the Klein crash files drop. Crash files. Plural. Meaning he had dirt on me too? The corroboration lie? Victoria's next call. Feds are involved.
Sick. FBI.
He's fleeing to Mexico.
Fleeing.
Like a rat. I should have felt victory. Instead.
Nausea.
Lila texted. Safe? I replied, for now. You?
Scared.
But free.
Free. Was I?
The gala loomed. Invites burning a hole in my inbox. I'd go.
Scars out.
Speak my truth. But as I tried on the gown, red silk, plunging I saw it, the flip. Ethan's not just scheming. He's sacrificing pawns.
Me?
Lila. The board. What's his endgame? And am I the villain for playing along? Twist of the knife. An email from an unknown. Crash site dashcam footage. Time-stamped. Not his swerve.
Mine?
Heart stopped.
Click.
The video was grainy. Pulled from some DOT archive Ethan must have greased palms to access. Timestamp, 10:47 p.m. That rainy night on 101. Audio crackled with our argument, my voice shrill. The books are off. Ethan, 2 mil doesn't vanish. His reply? Calm venom. Trust me? Sarah. Or don't. Then the swerve. But the angle, God. The angle from the rear view. It looked like my hand jerked the wheel. His clamped over mine? Invisible. Just me. Twisting us into oblivion. I watched it loop. 10 times. 20. Until the pixels burned retinas. Forgery?
No seams.
No edits.
Real.
Meaning what? That in the chaos.
Y de pánico.
fought back, or he'd framed it that way from the start. Dashboard rigged like his lies. My corroboration to cops. Accident. Suddenly a noose. Manslaughter? Vehicular? If it dropped, I'd be the monster. Not him. Panic clawed. But I compartmentalized. PR muscle. Turn crisis to copy. First. Lila. Lay low. Feds incoming. She ghosted back. Gone to Tahoe. Call if safe. Safe. Irony tasted like bile. Then Victoria. Burner footage? He's desperate. Use it. Use it? As leverage? I forwarded the link. Her reply instant. Board meeting. Tomorrow. Your play. Sleep evaded. Scotch my only company. Dreams fragmented. Baby cries echoing off guardrails. Ethan's laugh from the gala mic. Morphing to sirens. Woke to texts, reporters sniffing. Exclusive on Hargrove scandal? I stonewalled. Drafted deflections. But the dashcam nod. What if it was me? What if the scars were self-inflicted karma? Boardroom next day. Tension thick as smog. Holdouts gone. But new faces, lawyers. Stern and suited. Victoria opened. New evidence on the table. Sarah? I stood. Projector humming. The video played. Silent at first, gasps rippled. My hand. The twist. Impact in slow-mo. This is what he wants you to see, I said. Voice steel. Framed to shift blame. But cross-referenced the audio logs from his phone, synced to the car Bluetooth. He says, trust me, right before.
Click.
His voice. Time-stamped. Or don't. The swerve follows. Proof of manipulation? The lawyers leaned in, nodding. Plausible deniability shattered. Votes cascaded. Full ouster. Asset freeze. Whistleblower protections for me. Lila. Victoria's eyes gleamed. Press it hard. I did. That afternoon. A controlled leak to the Chronicle. Technova ex-CFO's crash cover-up. New video raises questions. No full drop. Tease the horror. Stock wobbled. But transparency buzz propped it. Ethan surfaced on a podcast from undisclosed, voice distorted. Deepfake. She's gaslighting you all. Gaslighting.
But. Kettle.
But the flip came via Lila's voicemail. Frantic. Sarah?
He's here. Tahoe.
Threatening the baby.
Tahoe.
Victoria's retreat spot. Coincidence? I called her. Check your cabin. Silence.
Then, on it.
Stay put. Stay put? Bullshit. I grabbed keys. Glock from the nightstand, licensed. Post-divorce paranoia, and floored it north. 80 cutting through Sierras like a vein. Tahoe glittered under alpenglow. Pines whispering secrets. Victoria's cabin, A-frame luxury. Deck overlooking the lake. Lights on, but door ajar. I crept in. Gun heavy. Heart heavier. Voices, Ethan's rasp. Lila's sobs. You think she'll save you? She's next. I peered, him pacing. Pistol to her temple. Her curled on the couch. Hands cradling bump. Drop it, I said, stepping in. Glock steady. He whirled. Eyes feral. Hero complex. Sarah?
Q.
Lila whimpered.
Victoria?
Nowhere. Where's she? I demanded. He smirked. Bought her off. Told her the full story. Your twist on the wheel. Bought off. The betrayal layered. My mentor. In his pocket. We circled. Mexican standoff in a room of plaid throws and taxidermy. The video's real, he taunted. You fought me. Killed our future. Fought. For truth or rage. Memory blurred, rain. Screams. His grip iron. You poisoned it first, I shot back. The pills. Mercy. Right? His laugh cracked. You were drowning us. Hysterical. Post-crash. I fixed it. Fixed. Like erasing names. Lila stirred. Liar. You bragged. One less complication. He backhanded her. Blood blooming lip. Rage blinded. I fired.
Low.
Into his knee. Crack echoed. He crumpled. Gun skittering. Sirens wailed. Victoria's alarm? Cops burst. Tahoe PD. Tasers hot. Ethan cuffed. Howling. Lila rushed me. Hugging. Thank you. But as they loaded him, his eyes locked mine. Twists coming. Sarah. The real one. Victoria appeared then. From the woods. Phone in hand, FBI line open. Tracked him. Good work. But her smile? Forced. What did he offer you? I pressed. She sighed. A board seat. Clean slate. But I chose you.
Chose.
Past tense. Doubt seated. Back in SF. Headline screamed, tech scandal shootout. CFO captured. I was the plucky ex. Scars airbrushed in photos. Stock soared 12%. But the dashcam nagged. I hired my own forensics guy, ex-NSA. Pricey. Report landed midnight. No tampering. But audio overlay possible. Possible. Not proof. Lila moved east. New life. Baby due in weeks. We're even, she texted. Even? Debts like this? Never. The gala approached. My speech drafted. Scars bared. Truth told. But as I rehearsed, mirror mocking, I wondered, am I avenging? Or atoning? And what's the twist he promised? The one that'd split the world, and me, wide open. The Moscone center pulsed like a hard-on life support, thrumming with the elite's false pulse, tech bros in slim jeans, influencers snapping selfies, VCs nursing Negronis like elixirs of youth. 1 year since the mockery, and here I was, back in the dragon's den. Gown clung like second skin, red as arterial spray. Neckline diving to expose the scars in all their gnarled glory. No pendant.
No sleeves.
Just me. Raw and reckoning. Victoria flanked me at the entrance. Arm looped possessive. You look lethal, she murmured. Lethal. After Tahoe. Our alliance felt brittle. Cracked by Ethan's whispers. But she was here. No resignation in sight. Speech ready? I nodded. Clutch heavy with note cards and the forensics thumb drive. Backup. Always. The MC scanned the crowd.
Mick gleaming.
A special moment for Technova's Sarah Klein. Applause.
Tentative.
Cameras swiveled. I ascended. Lights blinding. Scars itching under scrutiny. Last year, I began. Voice amplified.
Steady.
My husband stood here and joked about my scars. Called them baggage.
Tonight.
I wear them as medals. Murmurs. A chuckle from the back. Same tech bro? I pressed. These came from a crash he caused. To cover fraud. To kill our unborn child. Gasps rippled. Phones whipped out. He mocked me publicly. So I erased him from press, from power. But that's not revenge. That's justice. The room fractured. Claps from women in clusters. Hisses from gray suits. Victoria nodded from the wings.
Proud?
Or plotting? I cued the video, not dashcam. But Lila's audio. Ethan's voice. Mercy. Clean start. Projection bloomed huge. His confession echoing. Chaos. Shouts. A glass shattering. Security surged as the tech bro lunged on stage. Lies. Tackled mid-rant. Offstage. Victoria gripped my elbow. Bold. But the board, her phone buzzed. Face ashen. FBI raid.
Now. Raid?
On what? Ethan's assets.
No.
On Technova. Anonymous tip, she hissed. The full ledger. Offshore ties. To me.
You.
The flip landed like a sucker punch. Victoria? In on it? He offered a seat, she confessed, dragging me to a side room. Champagne flutes abandoned. But I took more. Skimmed my cut for the pivot fund. Thought you were collateral. Collateral.
Me?
The patsy again. The crash? I advised him. Frame it right. Insurance covers. Scars were. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. My vision tunneled. Hand to Glock and clutch habit. You, she shrugged. Unrepentant. Survival. Sarah. You would have done same. Would I? The gala devolved outside. Protests swelling. Scars justice versus tech tyranny. I bolted. Heels shutting. Into the night. Uber to nowhere. Mind reeling. Ethan's twist, not the dashcam. Her. The mentor who fed me ropes, only to hang me. I called the forensics guy, rushed the audio. Reply, overlay confirmed. Hargrove's voice, spliced from voicemails. But the pills receipt? Real. And signed by Lang.
Lang. Victoria.
She'd prescribed the vitamins through a clinic proxy, board perk. Wellness program. The miscarriage? Her mercy too. For the company's stability. I laughed. Hysterical. Cab idling at a light. Betrayal pyramid. Ethan the architect. Victoria the financier. Me the foundation. Feds swarm Technova by dawn. Headlines ablaze. C-suite coup. CEO implicated in fraud ring. Stock cratered 40%. I hold in a motel off 280. Burner phone pinging. Lila saw the gala.
Hero. Hero.
Or fool. Anonymous ex-post. Dashcam full drop. My hand clear.
The comments. She did it.
Murderer. But the real hook, Ethan's jail call. Patched through lawyer. Told you. Sarah.
Twist.
Victoria's the snake. I flip to save us. Us. Delete phantom.
Testify for me.
Reduce sentence. We rebuild. Rebuild. With what? Ashes? I hung up. Stared at the scars. Medals? Or manacles? The board dissolved. Lawsuits loomed. Gala fallout. Split verdict. Me as whistleblower saint or vengeful siren. Debates raged on pods. Did she overreach? Erase a man's legacy for a joke. Legacy. His mockery sparked it. But the fire? Our shared sins. I drove to the bridge. Wind whipping.
Contemplated the drop.
Not jump.
Just. End.
But pulled over. Called the PI. Find the original dashcam. Unedited. Report came evening. Recovered from impound. Hargrove's hand visible, clamped over yours. You fought. But he forced.
Truth.
Finally. I leaked it, full file. To every outlet. The real crash. Who held the wheel? Pandemonium renewed. Victoria arrested. Arraigned in silk scarves.
Ethan?
Plea deal crumbling. Her testimony turning. He masterminded, she claimed in cuffs. Flip again.
Me?
Subpoenaed, but untouchable, whistleblower shield. Stock, rebounding on new era. But victory tasted ash. The baby, our ghost, unavenged. Lila's boy, born healthy. Her text named him Asher.
Light.
I envied it. As trials loomed, I prepped my stand, scars bared, truth unvarnished. No sides, just facts molded my way. But in quiet, doubt whispered, was revenge justice? Or just another scar? Federal courthouse in San Francisco loomed like a tombstone, all granite and glass, sucking light from the fog-shrouded morning. Ethan and Victoria's joint trial, fraud, conspiracy, even attempted murder charges on him for the crash, had the Bay Area buzzing like a hive kicked. Reporters camped curbside, lenses predatory. I slipped past in oversized shades and a trench, scars hidden under turtleneck. But the weight, heavier than ever. Testimony started tame, auditors droning transfer trails, experts diagramming shells. Then Lila, waddling to the stand in a maternity power suit, voice quavering but steel-edged. He paid me to lie. To deliver the pills. Gasps from the gallery, spectators split, feminists nodding. Ethan's old guard scoffing. The judge, a no-nonsense Latina with bun tighter than her rulings, banged gavel, relevance sustained. Ethan's lawyer, slick as oil, crossed. MS. Voss. Weren't you compensated handsomely? A gratuity for services? Services. The word slimed. Lila's eyes flashed. For silence. Like Sarah's. Objection overruled. She glanced my way. Back row shadows. Gratitude? Or warning? My turn came week 2. Sworn in. Hand on Bible, I half believed. I faced the room. Ethan cuffed. Esmirkin, Victoria Prim. Eyes ice. MS. Klein, the prosecutor intoned. Walk us through the erasure. Erasure. My press purge. I detailed its subtle strikes, name by name, framing as whistleblowing, not vendetta. He mocked me here, I said, gesturing scars under fabric. But the betrayal?
Deeper.
The crash. The child. Projections flickered, emails, audios, the unedited dashcam, his hand forcing mine. Jurors leaned, one wiping tears. Then Cross, Ethan's shark, smelling blood. You corroborated the accident report. MS.
Klein.
Lied to police.
Why?
Trap. Love, I said simply. Blindness. Chuckles. But his follow-up gutted. Or guilt. Your hand initiated the swerve. Panic. Perhaps. Over your own indiscretions. Indiscretions. The rumor mill's gift, affair whispers. Pre-crash flings I'd quashed. Gasps again. I held steady. Framed. As proven. But doubt seeded jury eyes. Split. Already. Recess brought Victoria's turn. She took the stand like a runway. Testimony, a masterclass in deflection. Ethan radicalized me, she claimed. Tears, Oscar-worthy. The skim? His idea. The clinic? Coerced.
Coerced.
Bullshit. Her eyes flicked mine. Apology? Or accusation? The pill's signature? Hers. Bold script. Ethan's outburst shattered calm. Liar. You pushed the mercy kill. Bailiff wrestled him down. Jury excused. A chaos. Sidebar whispers. Judges glare.
Outside.
Protests swelled, Scars Matter banners clashing with Free Ethan signs. Families torn. Media split. Fox calling me, Vindictive X. MSNBC Courage icon. Nights blurred in witness protection light. A bland hotel.
Thai.
Nightmares of wheels and whales. Lila visited once. Post-birth. Asher swaddled angelic. He's worth it, she said. Handing a onesie, tiny Avenger. I laughed.
Broke.
What if I'm wrong? She squeezed hand. You're human. That's the controversy. Back in court. Twists piled. A juror dismissed for bias. Ethan's golf buddy. Victoria's plea deal leaked. Immunity for full confession. Implicating him deeper. His flip. She masterminded. The crash was her idea, insurance scam. Her?
No.
But the jury wavered. Polls outside showing 48 to 52 split, guilty or frame. My redirect. Forensic deep dive.
Audio unspleist.
Clinic logs under oath. Mercy was murder, I testified. Voice cracking first time. Our child's. Silence fell. Heavy. Ethan's smirk faded. Victoria dabbed eyes, real tears? Closing arguments. Prosecutor painted pyramid. Ethan apex. Me survivor. Defense? Web of lies. With Klein the spider. Jury deliberated 3 days. Fog lifting like judgment. Verdict read at dusk. Ethan guilty all counts fraud. Conspiracy. Attempted vehicular homicide. 25 to life. Cheers.
Booze.
Victoria? Lesser counts. 5 years probation, deal held. But the split lingered. Post-trial polls. 51% saw me hero. 49% enabler turned tyrant. Debates raged. Did she erase too much? A man's career for a joke.
Career.
Legacy. I walked out free, but scarred deeper. Public property now. Every decision dissected. Ethan's last words. Through glass at visitation. You won. But the baby's ghost?
Ours. Ours.
Truce or taunt? I left without reply. Into the light. Rebuild beckoned. Technova Phoenix. Me interim CEO. But victory?
Pyrrhic.
The controversy? Eternal. Readers. Viewers. Picking sides in comments.
Pods.
Right or wrong? No absolutes. Just a woman. Scarred. Steering. 6 months post-verdict. San Francisco hummed indifferent, summer fog burning off to reveal the grind anew. Technova rose from ashes. Rebranded NovaCore. Me at helm. CEO Sarah Klein. Scars now logoed in keynotes. Resilience redefined. Stock tripled. TED Talk offers piled. But sleep? Elusive. Chased by echoes, Ethan's laugh. Baby's silence. Lila thrived in Boston.
Asher toddling via FaceTime.
Chubby fists waving. Come visit, she urged. Light awaits.
Light.
I booked the flight, but detoured first. Corcoran State Prison. Visitor's booth sterile as regret. Ethan shuffled in. Orange jumpsuit sallow on his frame. eyes hollowed. Looking good, he quipped.
Chains rattling.
Irony. His last weapon. I leaned to glass. Rotting suits you. Banter masked the ache. The twist. I prompted. He grinned.
Cracked. You.
Always were the driver. I just held on.
Held on.
Metaphor for us. Victoria's appeal. She'd flipped again. Claiming duress. Free on bond. Writing a memoir. Silicon Shadows. Bestseller buzz. Painting me foil. The eraser. Wiping histories. Controversy reignited. Podcasts debating. Was Klein the real villain? Betrayal or bullying? I ignored.
Focod rebuild. Etica lai charter.
Diversity mandates. But phantoms lingered.
Anonymut mij, galake lip zemit.
My speech dubbed over villain laughs. Storms, scars to swords, accusing overreach. The erasure? Heroic to some, tyrannical to others, press purge as free speech chokehold, personal front fractured, dates flamed out. Too intense, they ghosted. Therapy unpacked. You bore his sins.
Sarah.
Time to forgive self. Self. The twist-eyed missed me. Complicit in the blindness. The corroboration lie? Not just love. Fear of losing the facade. Ethan's visit closed loop. Write our story, he urged. Truth.
Truth.
I left. Drove Coastal 1. Windows down. Wind scouring. At Big Sur Cliff. I scattered ashes, not his. Mine. The sapphire shards. Smashed pretrial. For us, waves whispered. Us me. The child. The scars. Ending?
Nota idibau.
Novacor thrived, but bored whispers of Klein fatigue. Lila's invite? Accepted. Asher's laugh bomb.
Ethan?
Appeals dragged. Life ebbing. Victoria's book dropped. Sales split, praised as confessional. Panned as cash grab. Readers argue still. Justice or jihad? My gala words echo. No one's wholly right. Controversial close. I testify for his parole in 10? Mercy.
Perhaps.
Or trap. The debate? Yours.
Me?
I drive on. Will mine. Scars fading to silver. But in quiet. The hook lingers. What if I'd erase myself first? The real revenge.